Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Way T. Lightheart from the Awesome Health Podcast from Bioptimizers, and we've got another great show for you all lined up for today. In fact, we have none other than Wendy Myers, the founder of MyersDetox.com. She's a heavy metal expert and functional diagnostic nutritionist. She's also the best-selling author of Limitless Energy, How to Detox Toxic Metals to End Exhaustion and Chronic Fatigue. And boy, there's a lot of people suffering from that. That's why we're bringing her on the show today, because we want to get into this. There's so many people suffering. She's got an incredible amount of knowledge for you to share. So if you're suffering from exhaustion, chronic fatigue, you know somebody, you definitely want to tune in today, because we've got one of the world's leading experts for you from Bioptimizers. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is a huge, huge topic. People struggling with fatigue and stuff, and they're trying to take energy boosters and 5-hour energy drinks and drinking caffeine like it's going out of style, and they're going to their doctors and they're shooting up this and taking chemical that. And at the end of the day, a lot of those things are not addressing the underlying cause. Tell me, how did you get started and interested in addressing these issues and becoming an expert in this particular field?
Well, I'm like a lot of people. I just want to improve my health. I wanted to feel good. And I found myself tired all the time in my late 30s. And I was doing everything right. I was eating an amazing diet, farmer's market, organic, making it myself for the most part. I was taking a huge bag full of supplements, the highest quality supplements you can get. I was exercising a few hours a week. I didn't have any stress. And I'm like, what do I have to do to feel good? Exactly. And I was really frustrated because I felt like my full-time job was working on my health, living a healthy lifestyle. And I thought, what is going on? So I went to the doctor and found out that I had, with all this stuff I was doing, the hormone levels of a menopausal woman at 37 years old. And I was super brain fogged. I was really moody. I wasn't sleeping well, and I wasn't losing weight like I had. And I just thought, well, maybe I'm getting older, but I'm 37. And, my doctor wants to put me on hormone replacement therapy and thyroid hormones. And I just thought that just wasn't really what I was expecting. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat and are tired and exhausted, and their hormones are a mess and they just feel like crap. Even if they are really taking care of themselves. So I went on Dr. Google and thought, what interferes in your hormones? And I kept happening upon heavy metals, chemicals, estrogens in our environment. And I started focusing in on this. And I thought, why have I never researched this before? Why haven't I read about this or really focused on it with everything that I had read about diet and exercise and weight loss and whatnot? So I really focused in on that. And the more I read, just a light bulb went off. This is a huge factor that a lot of people are missing when they're trying to resolve health symptoms and aren't successful with other things that they're trying to do, like diet and exercise.
This is a great topic, because there's a lot of people don't realize the kind of toxins they're using in their cosmetics and their suntan lotions and their deodorant. And then what's also not just in your food, because you can actually bring in these metals from all these things that we never really think of. And I've had friends who've been exposed to, like on farms, with problems with fertilizers and chemical agents and things like that. There's all these different areas that are kind of absorbing. It's not like you're going out and eating like tinfoil or eating aluminum to be suffering from heavy metals. How can you best assess if you have toxic levels of these metals? Like what is it that you can indicate? What are the symptoms maybe? And then maybe how do you discover if this is something that you're suffering from?
Yeah, well, I think that's the questions for the whole podcast. But let's start with, like, where are you getting this stuff? So we get these we get heavy metals like arsenic and lead and aluminum and mercury in chemicals like BPA and glyphosate. That's an herbicide, and there's 100,000 chemicals in our environment. So we get all this stuff in the air, food, and water. And so even if you're drinking perfectly filtered water, you're getting it in your shower, you're getting chemicals and metals and medications, testosterone, things like that, estrogen, birth control pills in your shower water. You are getting lots of different chemicals and metals in your food. Say when we had leaded gasoline, all that lead that when it was emitted by our cars is now in our soils and getting into our food, getting into our supplements. And it's impossible to avoid. And it doesn't matter how healthy of a lifestyle that you have, you are going to have some levels of heavy metals and chemicals in your body impacting every different organ system in your body, your enzymatic processes, your production of proteins, and so it can produce any imaginable symptom. We can go into more depth on all these different things, but that's just kind of an overview of what's going on. So at some point, so you may feel fine today, but at some point when your body burden of toxins reaches a certain point, it's going to start causing you symptoms, be it depression, anxiety, fatigue, infertility is a huge one, brain function, blood sugar control. It's estimated that diabetes is really one of the number one causes is toxins, arsenic, and other toxins that are interfering in your pancreas's ability to respond to blood sugar fluctuations properly in your body. It's not just carbohydrates. So, but that's part of it. But, if you really look at all the different major health issues and chronic health conditions, hypertension and heart disease and just fatigue, brain fog, dementia, all of these have an underlying cause of heavy metals. And it's in the research. It's very, very clear. So if you want to be healthy and meet your health goals and live a long, healthy, disease-free, medication-free life, you really need to be thinking about adding heavy metal detoxification, chemical detoxification, of course, to your health regimen.
Powerful information for people to understand. So is this literally what you did to kind of transform your health? You kind of had to discover this piece by piece. Maybe you can walk us through what that education and then obviously the transcendence of it, and then now becoming such a profound advocate in this industry. Kind of share your own experience, and then maybe some of the mistakes you made or things that you learned and what you would do today if you're in one of these conditions.
Yes. Well, my journey started with a test. So it started with the heavy metals test where I started with the hair mineral analysis, which is a great screening tool. It doesn't tell you all of the heavy metals you have in your body, but it will tell you some of them. And I discovered that I had mercury toxicity. I had arsenic toxicity. And then other tests, other urine and stool metals tests revealed I had cesium toxicity. I had thallium. I had uranium. And I had other metals as well. I had cadmium.
You were nuclear.
I was nuclear. Yes, nuclear. Yeah. And I was like, what? Where did I get these? I lived so healthy. I have such a healthy lifestyle. And, and digging further, I just, in my research, just was like, wow, how do I not have these in my body? And so, and it really explained a lot of my symptoms. For me, it ended my frustration with trying to figure out what was wrong with me, like why I couldn't lose weight. Oh, well, arsenic poisons the enzymes that transports fat out of your fat cells. And where do you get arsenic? Conventional chicken, conventional eggs, rice, water. So it just really explained a lot of things to me and stopped the self-blame that I had where, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not, I need to eat less and exercise more. Biology always overcomes willpower. So it wasn't about what I was doing or not doing. It was more about that I just how to get these metals and chemicals out of my body that are interfering in weight loss and blood sugar control and my hormones and my metabolism. And now it's much, being healthy is a lot easier. And I'm getting the health results that I want because I got rid of these roadblocks to how my body was functioning.
And how long was that journey? Because I think a lot of people, they expect they're just going to take a magic pill and that's going to be it. And I think the big lie that's being propagated inside our pharmaceutical industry. And I had Dr. Sanjay Gupta on the British one yesterday on the podcast, and he was talking about, well, when they talk about these pills and solutions that are often offered to us through quote unquote conventional medicine or whatever, if you actually say, well, this will help with whatever, when you actually look at the data doesn't really support that. It's like it's a minuscule amount to maybe one person, which is not even the amount to the placebo side. Now, when you're going through kind of a more natural or holistic form of detox, how long did it take you to go from where you were to kind of feeling better and feeling confident and being where you want it to be?
Well, I had a little bit of a learning curve, so it was a little bit slow going at first. But now I think, over the almost last 10 years of researching this, I've added a lot of components that speed things up for people. But, so for me, and also another point to make is, detox is a lifestyle.
Yes.
There's no kind of finish line because we're always exposed every day to metals and chemicals. I mean, the average woman just in her personal care products gets an average of 125 different chemicals. So
125 different chemicals from all the feminine things that women like to
yes.
use on themselves. No wonder guys are resistant to using that stuff.
Yeah. But guys are using more products now, so,
Yes.
and then you're breathing air and you get mercury and aluminum, other things in the air.
They talk about like the dust that comes off brakes on highways, that goop that's like brake chemicals are very serious. And you look on your cars and you see all that scoring on that black scoring on your rims. Well, that's going into the air and people are breathing that, which interrupts, for example, the rate of diabetes in cities or people close to highways is like some exponential factor higher.
Yeah. And then you have thallium. Thallium is naturally occurring in petroleum products. We know how much that's going into the air, all the burning of oil and gasoline. And thallium is huge contributor to fatigue and brain fog, digestive issues. It's 10 times more toxic than mercury.
Wow.
And it's even used in assassination attempts as well because it's that lethal. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, so this is a huge issue. And, people have to be, paying attention to this. So I started, I mentioned, with heavy metals testing, and I started out with minerals. So just taking minerals is a fantastic detox.
What kind of minerals? What kind of minerals should people be taking?
Magnesium. Magnesium is the number one thing that people need to be taking that they're deficient in. You can't detox very well if you don't have adequate minerals. And if you are mineral deficient, you're more prone to accumulate and retain heavy metals because the body can use some of these in the body, like zinc, for instance. If you're zinc deficient, your body you use zinc to repair your arteries and your skin and things like that. If you don't have enough zinc, which a lot of people are deficient, then your body can use cadmium instead. Cadmium causes more cancers than all of the other heavy metals combined. And so the body can use cadmium to repair the arteries, and it's very hard and brittle. So the arteries don't have that nice responsive reflex to stressors or what have you, and expand and contract. And then people get hypertension, high blood pressure, they get heart disease. And that's why smokers get hypertension and heart disease and cancer. It's because of the cadmium in the cigarettes. So that's kind of that whole process. And so that just kind of gives you an idea of just more information about that. But so minerals are super key. Those are the super basic foundational way to detox. And just doing that will start pushing toxins out. So zinc, magnesium, selenium, is super important. Most people are deficient in that. Potassium is super important to push out cesium and thallium, which we get cesium from nuclear disasters, nuclear testing, accidents, Fukushima, Chernobyl, lots of cesium toxicity. Everyone I test have cesium and thallium, every single person. And everyone has mercury, lead, and aluminum. Impossible not to have those metals. The other ones are kind of, people have different levels of them, but everyone has heavy metals to a certain degree. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they have symptoms from them. Maybe just learned to live with them. Like maybe they're just a little bit more tired, or their concentration isn't as good, or their sleep isn't as good, or their libido isn't all that great, and they just kind of learn to live with this stuff and just think that they're getting older. And it just kind of slowly but steadily creeps in, and people don't realize until they've removed these things how much better they can actually feel.
Yeah, very, very powerful information. I'm a big advocate of magnesium. It's made such a big difference in my own life, and we developed the magnesium because of it. Um, let's talk about what is your favorite, most effective detox protocol. What is, based on all the information and research that you've done, what is your go-to for the general public or most people that would come to see you or hire you or consult with you?
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, so I love different supplements like chelators and things, because most people a chelator is something that will go in and grab a metal and remove it. And
Right.
so most people think of that like, oh, I have mercury. I need to go in and grab it and remove it and get it out of my body. But the body doesn't always allow that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have found when they go to try to do a detox, that they really feel terrible when they're doing that. And that's a sign that it's not really working for you. I mean, part of detox is you're not always going to feel great. You're going to have a little bit of fatigue and
Mhm.
headaches, maybe a little nausea. It's just part for the course when you're kind of, this stuff is excreting from your fat cells or wherever it's hidden in the body. And the body, it's got to exit the body, and the body's got to process that. It takes energy, and it doesn't always feel great. So that's one component. People don't like that, but that's the
Sometimes they're called
reality.
a healing crisis, that things start to work and people feel worse and they panic, but that you just need to go through that phase to get to the next one.
Yeah, you just got to walk through the fire. That's part of it. But there's ways to reduce those Herxheimer reactions or detox reactions. And so, but a great thing to do is take a binder. A binder, I really like citrus pectin. I have a product called CitraCleanse. It's a grapefruit citrus pectin that has some other things like humic fulvic acid and some cilantro extract, which really works as a really great sponge
Yep.
to absorb things that are in the gut and in the bloodstream. So that's a very simple, passive way to detox. And if you're doing other detox stuff like infrared saunas, you're mobilizing all these toxins. You want something to absorb it. And so citrus pectin is fantastic for that. And then I also am a big advocate for different types of silica, or a specific type called orthosilicic acid. And that can detox and bind to metals that cause fatigue. So there are specific metals that we know interfere in mitochondrial production.
What
And
ones?
so,
What
yeah.
ones?
So metals that cause fatigue are arsenic, aluminum, tin, thallium, and cesium. And so very, very common. Most people have these. And so, a lot of people that are tired, they're reaching for energy drinks or
Right.
supplements or carbohydrates and sugar, any illegal drugs, stimulants, anything to get them through the day. And it pains me to see that, because people are destroying their health, but with all these things I mentioned are very problematic. And people don't realize it's not, and even mitochondrial supplements, which are great, you have to feed the mitochondria, but these metals poison enzymes that transport nutrients into your mitochondria. So even if you're taking mitochondrial boosting supplements, all those nutrients may not be getting in if you have significant levels of any one or more of these metals. And so it's really important to remove these roadblocks to ATP energy production. And so I think these are a big, big culprit and why people are fatigued. And then that causes this domino of effects. Like your brain uses 20% of your energy. You can't get enough energy to power your brain or concentrate. You need energy to detox your food. You need energy to have a solid blood-brain barrier, for those astrocytes to really be held together solidly to prevent toxins from getting in your brain. You need energy for that single cell lining of enterocytes in your gut to be held together, or you can get leaky gut and all the problems from that. So this is a really serious issue. It's not just about, oh, I don't have enough energy to go play tennis. Your body, it doesn't have the energy it needs to even respond properly to health issues, to respond properly to different stressors in your body. It all requires energy.
The Bioptimizer mission is to help more of the world fix their digestion at a core level. The truth is, your digestion is only as good as your enzyme levels. Imagine trying to build a house with a tree. It's impossible. You need to chop the tree down into small pieces. Similarly, in order for your food to be used by your body, it must be broken down into a bioavailable form. And that's what enzymes do, converting protein into amino acids, fats into specific fatty acids, and carbohydrates into usable energy units. We start out with an abundance of enzymes, and that's why kids can digest just about anything really quickly. The thing is cooking food kills enzymes as they cannot survive at temperatures above 118 degrees. So years of this ends up depleting our bodies and leads to weak digestion. Taking digestive enzymes like masszymes, which has an incredibly high level of protease for digesting protein, as well as other critical enzymes like lipase, amylase, and others, is a total game changer. Suddenly, you strengthen your digestion, eliminate gas and bloating, boost metabolism, and multiply your energy. Most importantly, you fix your digestion at a core level. To get started with Masszymes and to save 10% on your first order, go to masszymes.com. That's MASSZYMES.com and use the code MASS10, MASS10.
I think people, an easy way to illustrate that is this: if you're driving from, Phoenix to Los Angeles, you would not expect to do this on a half a tank of gas. You've got to be able to fill up the tank. Of course, we would say that. Of course, that makes sense. I know that I can't do that. And if I don't do that, I'm going to end up somewhere in the Mojave Desert, broken down and having some real problems other than just not having gas. So it's a compounding effect by not able to address the underlying energetic needs, or people are putting a lot of really bad, dirty gas inside their system, and that's clogging up the fuel injection system, et cetera, et cetera. So what are some other things in your protocol that you like on the favorite side, just to keep on target? Because I know I kind of sidetracked you. My apologies.
No. I love how guys.
I just get so interested, and I go down another lane. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. No, I love how guys always use car analogies for the body. It's so awesome. Yeah. So what I was saying before about the Citra cleanse is like a binder, and then to remove the metals that cause fatigue, I developed a product called Ageless AF that really just has this orthosilicic acid in it that removes the metals that cause fatigue. So these two supplements, it's a very simple thing. It's very easy to take. It's incredibly effective. We see it in the research to remove a lot of the metals and chemicals that people have. So that's a very simple place to start. And isn't going to do everything for you? No. But it's you have to take certain things to go into your cells and remove metals like this OSA, this orthosilicic acid, and then the binder, which is the grapefruit pectin.
Well, it's obviously working for you, because you look pretty ageless to me when you start giving me the timeline. I'm going, wait a second, you look like you're in your 20s.
I'm almost 50.
You look amazing. Your skin is right. So for those who aren't listening, if you see the video, your skin is radiant, you look so healthy and robust, and that wasn't always the case. So you're speaking, as someone who's actually done this. What other things,
Yeah.
because I know once people kind of get into this and they start seeing results, it becomes pretty motivating and life-changing. So what are some other things that you've been doing, but maybe the next stage, or advanced stages? Because I know we got some pretty advanced listeners like, oh, I want to try this.
Yes. Yeah. So the next stage. So of course it's supplements, super basic, minerals, super important. But I also incorporate bioenergetics to detoxification.
So what's bioenergetics for our listeners?
What the heck is that? Yeah. So bioenergetics is essentially the study of energy in the human body. So we have an energy field. So our body throws off an energy field. And in this energy field, there are energetic waves, and information is transferred on those waves. It's one of the ways our body communicates. The heart sends messages to the pancreas or what have you, and operating instructions. And it works the same way like a radio. So you have radio waves, and there's information on these radio waves. And when you tune a radio to a certain frequency like 98.6, you hear this information that's transferred on the energy waves. Our body works the same way. And so a lot of people who are not well, that have trouble detoxing, that can't take any supplements because they're too sick to do that, makes them ill, or who have a lot of food sensitivities that can eat 5 foods or whatever. What do you do with these people? And this is something that really bothered me as a practitioner. I've worked with thousands of people. It bothered me, like, how am I going to help this person? They can't take supplements or they can't eat any food. Like, where do you start? And so these people, the foundation of your body's physical functioning, it begins in the energy field. So if you can work in the body's energy field and find blockages in the energy field and clear those, then you have a better expression of physical functioning. And so I incorporate this into my protocols to facilitate detoxification, but it has a lot of other benefits as well, because it just gets the body working how it's supposed to be working. And so it gets, people start doing the bioenergetic protocol that I use is called NES Health, NES Health Bioenergetics. But there's a number of things that I recommend. There's a harmony pendant that really helps to balance the body's energy field and get rid of distortions, problems in the energy field. And there's other things that I use, biofield tuning. But the foundation of it is this harmony pendant and the NES Health bioenergetic program. And so, and it's just a very simple thing to do. We do this like scan. It's a biofeedback scan. People do it at their own home. It's very easy to do. And it tests 500 different data points. You get this wealth of information about what's going on in your body and all your food sensitivities, and you see all your nutrient deficiencies, and you see emotional traumas, you see what organs those issues are affecting, you see all your heavy metals, you see the type of EMF you're sensitive to. It's incredibly interesting and eerily accurate. And so, I have clients, they don't tell me anything what's wrong with them. And they see the scan and they say, oh, I had a surgery on my appendix and the appendix is coming up, or I had what have you, just for example. And so I like to use bioenergetics to help facilitate someone's liver and kidneys and colon and skin detoxing better. But the end result is really every parameter of organ functioning improves.
Wow, that's really, really, really powerful information. And also, I love that you're leveraging this. And people go, well, that sounds kind of wooish. But I mean, we live in a world of frequency, vibration, Wi-Fi signals, satellite signals, telephone signals, all these sort of things. And so it only makes sense that anytime you have an electrical current, you also create a magnetic field. This is proven in science, and our nervous system runs on electrical current, as do our cells, as do our mitochondria, which produces electromagnetic fields. And we can feel those fields, like someone might have an amazing presence or someone might be kind of dark or these type of things. And the fact that you're also addressing on those levels, and for people who want to get a deeper look at it, I see the DNA as actually as a Tesla coil, and the various minerals on it are like signals on your dial: 101, 102. Here's country, here's rock, here's hip hop, here's classical music. If you're deficient in minerals, you aren't able to get all those signals that make the body work. And then also, if you add these chemicals, they sit on those gaps and cause blockages so that you do not get that solid signal, and that has an impact on our health, our vibe, our functionality, our emotionality, all these sort of things. So we're far more dynamic than these biological organisms. If you dive into the physics, we're all empty space and frequencies and vibes. So and we, of course, that's why we go to big events. That's why I like to, the chemistry of love and all these things are all things that we can actually live and feel, that create chemical responses as a function of the electromagnetic frequencies that are going on.
That's an amazing explanation. You hit it right, the nail on the head. Yeah, and it's everything has a frequency in which it vibrates, and that can be measured. It's just very simple. So, and there's tons of research behind this. If you go on PubMed and type in bioenergetics, there's tons of science, tons of amazing studies going on. It's really the future of medicine. Conventional medicine hasn't caught up to this, but an MRI you're looking at, you're measuring frequencies, electromagnetic fields,
ECGs, EKGs, all these sort of things are measuring these. And of course, now we have technology, Aura rings where we can pick up stuff, and there's a vast array. Many of this research was developed or advanced in the Soviet Union and some of the Eastern Bloc countries, which were more open to it and didn't have to suffer the kind of conventional medicine lockdown that was controlled by pharmaceutical lobbyists. And a lot of this stuff was blocked or banned or not allowed. But we're seeing a reemergence of this, largely in part, I think, is because we're exposed to frequencies and vibrations much more. Like 20 years ago, not everybody was walking around with a cell phone. And now everybody is, and they know what it's like to have a good signal and a bad signal.
Well, I had a cell phone 20 years ago.
One of those ginormous ones that you had.
I did.
You got to carry with it, like, in a backpack or whatever, right? Charlie, calling the airstrike. I digress. Let's talk about some simple detox tips for your listeners that can, really start. Get it. They're listening to this and like, I want to do something. I don't know what to do. Where do I start? What do I need to do?
Yeah, well, the first thing you can try my mitochondria detox. That's a very simple thing to do. And then also other really simple things are reducing stress, because if you are and this is another foundational thing a lot of people don't think of when it comes to detox or anything you're trying to do to heal your body. If you're in a stress state, you are not in a healing state. And so you have to get into your parasympathetic nervous system, and there's lots of ways to do that in order to rest, digest, detox, and regenerate and heal. And so this is another kind of wrench in people's kind of plan to try to get better and detox. And so you've got to be in this relaxed state. So I use the Harmony pendant. So it's this little pendant right here for anyone that can't see that. So this is a very quick way to help people kind of very quickly get into parasympathetic state. But you can do meditation and yoga and all these different things. But for many people, that's temporary, and then they're kind of right back where they started to.
Right.
And for many people, I find trauma is a huge underlying root cause of just constant stress, this constant energy drain. And a lot of people aren't consciously aware of it. And so, I like using this Nest Health Bioenergetic program to, look at what types of trauma there are. And it has a very simple protocol to, release them. Biofieldtuning.com, another very simple way for people to release trauma bioenergetically, because a lot of the stuff you can't just go to talk therapy and talk it out. It's ingrained in your body. There's an energetic imprint there that has to be released, and it's a constant stressor for so many people. Then there's EMF, this constant stressor that is these non-native frequencies that are interrupting in our body's communication, kind of a stressor. And so these things have to be looked at and reduced. That's why it's not enough to just go do grounding and walk on the beach or do yoga or meditation, because you're kind of right back where you started, after you're done with that, with all these different stressors acting on you. So that's a very foundational thing, not just for detox, but for your health in general. And then minerals, just taking minerals, minerals aren't that sexy. So there's not a lot of people don't get all excited about selenium because they're just more excited about turmeric or just other things that people write articles about on the internet. So really focusing on minerals is really key. Proper hydration, super basic. A lot of people they're drinking water, but it's not absorbing. So I'm a big fan of structured water. Even putting mineral salts in your water as well. If you're mineral deficient, you can't hold on to the water even if you're drinking it. And so there's a water I drink called Wata. I'll show it to you right here. It's called Wata, and you can get it on aquanew.com. And this has the fifth phase of water, the gaseous state of water, oxygen and hydrogen and electrons infused into purified water. And that floods your body with oxygen and hydrogen and electrons, negative ions, which ground your body, that's how your body works. It has to be grounded to work properly electrically. That detoxes you a ton. So that hydration component is super, super important. And I drink Wata every single day. I love it. And it gives you tons of hydrogen. And a lot of people taking molecular hydrogen. It's great. But what about the oxygen? What about the electrons needed to get that hydrogen into your cell? It's a little myopic just taking the hydrogen. So I like the Wata in that respect. So these are super basic things that people don't think of when it comes to detox, but we have to not just think about going in and ripping out metals and mercury and lead. You have to facilitate the body's ability to release them. And you can't do that just with taking chelators or doing IV chelation.
So concise and very thorough. I love all the components of it. So let's talk a little bit about you and your clinic and, what it is that you do, who comes to see you, what do you take them through, and let's walk a person through this, because I think in today's world, oftentimes, people will kind of get started on something, but there's a lot of uncertainty, and having that guide, having that expert, having that person of experience that can not only provide you tweak or optimize that process. So can you share with us, what's the type of person that comes to see you and how you walk them through that process?
Yeah, well, a lot of times people come to us after they've tried a lot of other things. They're eating an amazing diet, they're taking amazing supplements, they're exercising, they're trying to sleep, and they've tried a lot of different things, maybe looked at their genetics and really need guidance and to figure out what that next step is. And they hear me talking about heavy metals, they're like, oh, maybe it's that. So I have a team of practitioners that will kind of assess someone and look at their health history and can help them decide what their next step should be. I really like it if people start with bioenergetics, because we have to kind of lay this foundation for your body to work better. So I like it people kind of do our Nest Health Bioenergetics program for about 6 months, maybe add a harmony pendant to what they're doing as well. And following some of the basics I just talked about, proper hydration, minerals, and maybe starting the mitochondria detox or very, very basics. And then doing at some point a heavy metals test We do hair mineral analysis, urine, and stool metals tests as well, because there's no perfect heavy metals test. Some metals come out in the hair, some come out in the urine, some come out in the stool. And so we need to look at all three of those to get the total body burden of metals that people have. And based on that, can develop a customized supplement program for them to get rid of the specific metals that they have, because different substances remove different metals. And some people have some strange metals. We're thinking, like, where'd you get that? And we can help clients kind of piece together where they got these toxins and how to get rid of them within the context of addressing their other health issues and considerations and contraindications for supplements or whatnot. And so we really try to hold people's hands every step of the way to try to, give them that last piece of the puzzle to their health, which is that bioenergetics and heavy metal detox component.
Amazing. Quick question, I think for a lot of people, let's talk a little bit about your book, Limitless Energy, How to Detox Toxic Metals to End Exhaustion and Chronic Fatigue. Obviously, an hour with you is not enough time to kind of give you the whole picture, and I think I want to encourage people to grab a copy of that book. Can you talk a little bit about the book? Is it like, when someone reads that or gets that, what are they going to expect and how that's going to kind of give them the overall picture, I would assume. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really hone in on the heavy metals that cause fatigue, all the research behind that for all, the biohackers that are into that. And then going to each heavy metal or toxic metal. Not all of them are heavy, like, aluminum's not considered heavy metal, but that's a term people use or think of. And so going through all those step by step, and then solutions about how to detox supplements and infrared saunas, coffee enemas for liver flushing, all these different, components of detox to help really give people an understanding of why they're toxic, a clue to some of their symptoms, and how to address it, solutions.
We're going to pop some links in there. I think you can just go on to Amazon and grab that as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, is there anything else that we haven't covered in around the areas of detox and all these sort of things that you think is really important to get across?
Yeah, no, we covered everything. No, but yeah, essentially, anyone listening, if you were like me, where you feel like you're doing everything right, you're eating this super healthy organic diet, or you're trying keto, or you're taking all these supplements that are are amazing, top-notch quality, you're trying to exercise, and you have this intuitive sense like something else is wrong, you're correct. And I'm telling you that, heavy metals and chemicals play a big role in your body not performing how you want it to. And you want to be looking at that and not only just taking stuff out of your body, not only detoxing metals out of your body, but learning about how to reduce the influx of toxins in your home and environment. And so I have tons of free information, hundreds of podcasts and hundreds of articles on myersdetox.com to help you to learn all about that.
We'll talk about that. Where can people find you? Your website, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. If you can give us stuff, we're going to put the show notes in it, but you can shout it out for you, because I think you got so much information and you're so clear. You're a living, radiant, obviously, product of the information you've applied. You're not just kind of one of these people barking into the ethers. It obviously is working for you. Can you share where people can reach you?
Yes, you can go to myersdetox.com. And I also have the Myers Detox podcast, all about detox. And I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/Wendy Myers, and all the other social medias, Myers Detox.
Wendy Myers, you are amazing. Yeah. And I am just blown away by how quickly, effectively, and concisely you are able to share with people the importance of detoxing, getting out these heavy metals, remineralizing, getting their bioenergetics in order, getting their whole health up and running in a way that allows you to kind of get out there and feel your best and have the energy that you require. Is there any closing statements that you'd like to say before we go?
No, I think I covered it. Detox is that missing piece of the puzzle, and detox is a lifestyle. It's not something you do in like a couple of months. So if you think about it, if you're 50, you've had 5 decades of accumulating metals and chemicals. You're probably not going to turn that around in just 6 months. So realistic expectations is important, but I encourage people to incorporate detoxification into their lifestyle on a daily basis. And I teach that on myersdetox.com.
Absolutely brilliant, folks. This is another episode of Bioptimizers, the Awesome Health Podcast with none other than Wendy Myers. Make sure you check out her website at myersdetox.com and her book, How to Detox Toxic Metals to End Exhaustion and Chronic Fatigue. There is no need to feel bad, to feel terrible, or to not have enough energy to deal with life on your own terms. Check out Wendy. I want to thank you for being on the show today. And for all our listeners, we'll see you again on another episode of Bioptimizers, the Awesome Health Podcast. Take care.
And now for a Bioptimizers fixed digestion tip: how to get away with eating sugar. Hey, look, sugar is normally one of the worst things for you. But let's be honest. I mean, we all cheat from time to time. And here's a little trick that will ensure your body benefits from the sugar. Now, before you eat or drink anything sweet, take 5 to 8 capsules of P3OM. The patented strain in the formula devours sugar so fast it literally doubles in the body every 20 minutes in the presence of sugar. That doesn't mean that you can or you should eat a bunch of sugar or sit around all day doing that. But on the days that you do cheat, or you go after one of those maybe meals that you wouldn't normally do, this ensures that you get something in your gut that eats the sugar. And it's not going to feed the bad guys or spike your blood glucose nearly as much. So to learn more about P3OM and its sugar-devouring and protein-digesting properties and how it can transform your gut and metabolism, go to www.bioptimizers.com.
Thank you for listening to the Bioptimizers Awesome Health Podcast. You can find more information at bioptimizers.com.